Good afternoon. I'm Jason Rzucidlo, reporting for AmericaJR.com, and I'm being joined by author Amy S. Eckert, whose new book is titled 100 Things to Do in Detroit Before You Die. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Jason. It's a pleasure to meet you.
You're welcome. So first, please start by telling me a little bit about yourself, how you got interested in writing.
Well, I think I've always been a writer at heart. I've always been a reader at heart, but I was born and raised in Detroit and just always had a love for the city. So as I became an adult and got into writing about travel, it seemed to me that many people around the country and even around the world didn't really appreciate how much there was to do and see in the city. They associated Detroit with the automotive industry or maybe with the music industry, but they didn't realize, in my opinion, the wealth of art and culture and great architecture that the city had. So I kind of took it upon myself as I advanced in my travel writing career to make a practice of trying to share the great wealth of things to do in the city of Detroit.
Okay, very good. So how easy or difficult was it to choose these 100 things to do?
It was pretty tough, actually. I think probably it's the case with most cities that once you really dive in and get started checking out hotels and restaurants, that you find that there's more than what you ever expected. And this was especially the case in Detroit because, as you well know, the city has really evolved over the last decade from a place that had some economic problems for sure, to one that now is redeveloping its old buildings into hotels and restaurants. And so it seemed as soon as I got my list of 100 things together for the book, something new would pop up on the scene, and I'd have to kind of second guess myself and decide whether I needed to change things. But as the city has evolved, my writing and my books have evolved. I'm now on the third edition of 100 Things to Do in Detroit. And really it's because of the wealth of new attractions that keep popping up on the scene.
Okay, many people are probably wondering, how is the third edition different from the first or second editions?
Well, the first edition came out in 2016. And at that time, the Q line, which is a cable car that runs right down the center of Woodward Avenue, that was still just a dream. And the Joe Louis was where people went to see the Red Wings play. So over the course of the years, of course, those kinds of attractions have been replaced with things like the Q line, like the Little Caesars Arena. And so yes, this third edition has new hotels like the Roost Hotel and the Shinola Hotel, which find themselves in historic old buildings downtown. They were really unknown in the first edition. And same thing with a number of different restaurants in the city, Baobab Fair and others that have won awards that just didn't exist in the first edition. I'm trying to keep it current for people.
Oh, wonderful. So just last week, we had the reopening of the Michigan Central Station. Is that on your list of 100?
Well, no, because it wasn't finished when I wrote this book. However, I like to tell people that Michigan Central Station, as fantastic as that building is just one of dozens of buildings across the city of Detroit that just a few years ago really lay in ruins and have now become just architectural jewels. The Shinola Hotel I mentioned, but the Aloft Hotel and the Roost Hotel, and now the brand new Cambria Hotel. Those hotels all exist within buildings that were very much like Michigan Central, just unbelievably poor condition only a few years ago. And those are all part of this third edition.
Oh, great. So summer is just around the corner. So where are some of the best summer places to see in Detroit?
I always love spending time on the Riverwalk when I go to Detroit. And this year there's a new park along the Riverwalk called Robert Villade Park. There's a sandy beach there where kids can play and you can go swim. They can go swimming. There's a floating bar. So I like to spend time on the Riverwalk and visit some of the new parks, maybe the carousel, or pick up a rental bike and bike along the water. I love to spend time at Campus Martius Park, which has its own beach in the summer and a lot of free live music concerts. And then another favorite, it's a classic spot to go, but Greenfield Village is fantastic. A lot of people don't know that Village used to be Henry Ford's backyard, and he was so enamored of collecting things, including buildings and houses, that he moved them all to his backyard. And you can't visit Greenfield Village in the winter, it all closes down, but summertime is a fantastic place to not only visit this classic attraction in Detroit, but kind of walk your way through American history.
Oh, yeah, that sounds great. So, as you just mentioned, not only did you write about the city of Detroit, but you also included some of the suburbs?
I did. I thought hard about that, but Detroit is and has always been a city associated with the car, and people are used to driving to destinations, and it's quite a big city when you consider the entire metro area. So, yes, I included the Detroit Zoo, I included Greenfield Village and the Henry Ford Museum. I included Pewabic Pottery, which I think is actually in an eastern suburb, and Edsel Ford Estate on
Okay,
the eastern side of the city.
very good. What message do you want readers to leave with after reading your new book?
Well, I hope that they'll discover some new places to visit in Detroit. Even people who already live in Detroit, I think they'll find something new to explore with their friends or family. I hope that they'll use the book to kind of make their way through the city, perhaps with a child or a grandchild, use it kind of as a passport, things to do. And as family or friends visit you this summer, those of you who maybe live in the city of Detroit, consider using this as a launch point for exploring the city and showing off just the great treasures that are within the boundaries of the D.
Okay. And when will your new book be available and where can people find it?
It's available now. It's just come out, and it can be purchased online at your favorite online booksellers like Amazon and Barnes and Noble. But brick and mortar stores like Barnes and Noble, like your independent bookstore, they all carry it too. And it's really very widely available throughout all of Metro Detroit and, of course, across the country as well.
Oh, great. Are there any other final comments you'd like to discuss?
Well, I hope that this will be an opportunity for people to discover their city in a new way, to read in the pages of the book, not only the finest things to see in the city, but the history behind them, how they came to be the way they are, like, for example, Square Pizza or the Henry Ford. Learn a little bit about the background of the places that we take for granted and discover something new.
All right, that sounds great. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you, Jason. I appreciate it. Have a good afternoon.
You too. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thanks.
Oh, you're welcome.